Hi, welcome to another video from the Barrett channel. I'd like to talk about this coronavirus today. So right now there's a lot of worry and nervousness within China because of this coronavirus. So let's first sort of tell people who don't know, I'm sure they do, but just in case you don't, what this coronavirus is. Well, it's only the seventh strain of this that's ever been identified in the world, and it's a virus that affects the respiratory system. It's a kind of pneumonia virus, and because it's new, there's no current cure for this. So this is one of the huge problems here. Right, where did it come from? Well, it started in the Chinese city of Wuhan, and it's believed that it started at a seafood market. But I think part of the problem here, this wasn't just a seafood market. There was many other animals being sold here, and it's strongly believed, although it's not yet been confirmed, it's strongly believed that it was passed to a human from a wild animal. Now, a lot of media and people are comparing this disease to SARS of 2003, which was a disease which killed quite a lot of people. But actually, we need to get this into perspective. So far, there are six deaths from this virus. There are 6 deaths. But you have to put this into proportion with how many deaths each year occur from the common flu. And from what I understand, the 6 deaths that have occurred, they've been in people that have had very weak immune systems, elderly people or people who've had other complications. But this is not to diminish the seriousness of this. The SARS in 2002, 2003, this came from, or believed to have been started from a civet cat. And following that, China actually banned the slaughter and sale of civet cats. But it seems these are still being sold in markets around China. So I think here the authorities need to step up the fight against that. So the huge problem for a virus like this is it's now been confirmed that it can pass from person to person. Initially, all the cases were in Wuhan, and it was thought that it only passed from animals to people, because most of the people that initially got this disease were from this seafood market in Wuhan. But since then, it's been confirmed by the experts here in China that it does pass from person to person. It's now Wednesday, the 22nd of January, and there's in the region of 300 upward cases confirmed. And it's confirmed that it's actually spread from Wuhan. There are cases in Beijing, in Shandong, in Guangzhou. So it is spreading, and some of those cases are people who have not travelled to Wuhan itself. They're cases where people have had family members who visit there. So it is confirmed now it's passing from person to person. Now, one of the real big issues is the timing that this has happened. We are right in the middle of one of the busiest travel periods in China, Chinese New Year. And there are something like 3 billion journeys made during Chinese New Year. Many people go from the cities back to their hometowns to visit friends, relatives. And it's a time where all the travel ports, train stations, metro stations, airports are just absolutely jam-packed, crowded with people. And as this virus transmits from person to person, this is really, some flashpoints where this virus can get transmitted because people are in such close proximity to each other. This is also the case on all the underground metro systems here in China and all the trains. They are really, really busy at this time of year. So this is a huge worry to the Chinese authorities. What they've done, they've put many monitoring points in place in these train stations, airports, etc., etc. So they're taking temperatures of people. Anybody that has a raised temperature will be, looked at further. So what can people do to help prevent the spread of this virus? There's some basic things you can do. Cover your mouth and your nose when you sneeze or that. Make sure you wash your hands regularly. If possible, avoid crowded places. Only travel if it's necessary. It's really what Western people need to understand is just how many people there are in China and how many people do travel. How busy these stations and trains and undergrounds are. And this is a really major issue here. So what can be done in future to prevent this? Well, one of the big criticisms of the Chinese government, and I think what some Western media are trying to portray about this particular outbreak, is that the Chinese media are trying to hide the fact that this is happening. This actually was the case back in 2002, 2003 with SARS. A number of provinces and provincial authorities did try to hide the fact that they had a problem. But I can tell you, being in China, seeing the news, seeing the social media, speaking to people around me, Chinese people, I can absolutely assure you that that is not the case this time. There has been an instance where a number of people were sort of arrested and questioned about posts they put on social media. And I think this is due to the fact that the Chinese authorities want to make sure clear and accurate information is transmitted. And sometimes the problem with some of these social media platforms is that people pick up rumours and start to spread these rumours. And then it becomes, people think this is the actual facts. Well, it's not always the case. So I think it's very important that people listen to the official channels. And in fact, the leader here, Xi Jinping, went on TV to say that this is the case, and he actually threatened if any provincial leaders or provincial authorities do try to sort of cover up anything, that they will be very, very severely punished. I think they really learnt the lessons from the 2002-2003 SARS outbreak, and this ended up spreading more because to a point, provincial authorities try to cover up this, and I can assure you, as far as I can see, that is really not the case this time. They're being very open. They are working with the WHO on this to sequence the genome so we can see the exact thing. They're reporting cases as soon as they are detected. And that seems to be within all the provinces in China. However, it is a very worrying and concerning time. There is an issue, it's suggested that people wear masks, but many places have already sold out of these sort of surgical type masks. And although they are good, they do have a limited effect on what they can do. But yeah, it is a precaution we can take. As I say, many places have sold out. I tried to buy some yesterday and I couldn't find any anywhere. I do have one or two in my home, and people, the price of these things is absolutely rocketed. There's reports of people selling these at 10 times the value that they were just a few weeks ago. So what do I think can be done about this in the future? Let's hope they contain this particular outbreak. So the main cause of these kind of viruses is coming from wild animals. So personally, I think one of the things that the Chinese government could do is they could really crack down on the sale or on the operation of these wild animal markets. These tend not to be so much in the bigger cities. They might be in the second and third tier cities. I haven't seen a lot of this going on in Shenzhen. Yes, there are a lot of seafood markets here. I've seen chickens, I've seen ducks in live markets, but not the kind of animals, and I'm sure they are here, and I'm sure they're in the Guangdong area, because in southern China people do eat, or do like to eat, a lot of different kinds of animals, etc. But I think this is one area where I think the Chinese authorities could focus and try to stamp out a lot of this wild animal markets, as this is one big area where these viruses are coming from. Either stop them altogether or regulate them more so, and have really quite severe punishments for people who are breaking these laws and rules. And I think what you have to remember here is, since the 2002-2003 SARS outbreak, the Chinese authorities have got some of the world experts working here. And I think what it's important for Western countries to understand is that when you have a country with so many people, and some of the largest cities in the world, I really can't express how big some of these cities are and how busy some of these cities are. And so it's a whole different ball game when you get a virus like this compared to countries like England and European countries, maybe even America, where the cities are just not so populated. So anything that can spread from human to human really is a much more difficult task to control here in China. Anyway, that's the end of this video. I will perhaps post some updates on this. Always great to get the comments below, what your thoughts are. Tell me about what's happening in your city, etc, etc. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up, because that helps greatly. And if you like the channel, please subscribe. But for now, as always, take care.